Hey everyone, you're welcome to my channel. My name is Anita Okereke, and today we're going to be talking about transitions. Transitions. I'm just going to dive right into it. I'm hoping that I can talk about everything I want to talk about today in one video. But if it gets too long, just for your digestion, I'm going to split it into two parts. So, I know that you can notice the background is different. Well, that's because today is my fifth wedding anniversary, and Anoyika are taking a 1 day staycation in a hotel. But I was determined to, shoot this content today. So it's 11:15 in the night. Sorry, 11:05, and here I am, full face of makeup, trying to get this content out. So I'm just going to dive right in. Today, we're talking about transitions. And while thinking about it, I realized that it's a very broad topic or subject to talk about. And one video would not cut it. And if one video even attempts to, it's going to be a super long video. So I have decided to split it into mini part series. However, it won't be sequential. It's going to be random. That's the word. I would address it randomly as mini part series. So along the line, you probably see transition part two, maybe a few weeks or a few months down the line, and whatnot. But today, the aspect of transitioning I want to talk about is my career and basically what I do for a living. And the reason why I'm starting with that is because I won't say I have come into full clarity of it, but what I would say is it has been a very interesting journey that I have been navigating through, and I believe I will be able to communicate that well. But I would start from the origin and quickly, but with the details, I would walk you through how far I've come. So, like I said in my intro video, I'm an accountant by profession. Is it profession now? Anyway, to speak it in a different way, I studied accounting in school, right? And it went terribly because, of course, the whole thing that happens to the best of us, where your parents push you to study something because they like someone that's studying it and they want you to be like the person, so you go through it, a mess and come out. Basically, that was how accounting was for me. I remember telling my parents in 200 level that I wanted to change to international business because I felt like I was more of a business person, but they wouldn't even listen. They wouldn't even hear it. So I went through with the accounting. Thank God I didn't have an extra year, but I didn't have a result that I was particularly proud of. But I shall graduated after 4 years, and I knew that I wasn't going to use it for anything. Moving on from then, I had my NYSC, and I remember one day. So I graduated in July, and that July, I remember, just waking up one day and I don't know what I was doing. And I thought to myself, you're going to go for NYSC soon. What do you want to do with yourself? You know that you have no business working in any accounting firm or anything that would require you to apply um, financial knowledge, basically. So, what is it that you want to do? And I want to believe it's the Holy Spirit because it didn't lead me astray. The voice or the thing in my head just said to me that, how about consider event planning? So I didn't know so many people then, but I remember a name popped up into my head, and it was my friend Michael. And I called Michael and I said to Michael, that guy, I'm thinking of going into events planning. NYC is coming up in a few months, but I don't know anybody in the events planning space. What should I do? So Michael said to me that, you know what? I also don't know anybody in the event planning space. But in his exact words, he said, I know someone that works closely with event planners. So I'm going to hook you up with him. What I shall know was that I shall got my first job myself. And that was working, in Cookie Jar as what was or as an operations manager basically. So it was more front desk, more answering phones, more if we had events, trying to put everything together on paper. So I wasn't in the bakery or anything like that. But I know why Michael had hooked me up with that was because at that point, the bakery part of that business was really big, and desserts were becoming a thing. Sometime around 2013. It sharp put me in close proximity with event planning. So of course we worked with so many event planners as vendors, attending vendor meetings and whatnot. And that was how I got introduced into the event space. So a few months down the line, I was over it. I liked where I was, but apart from the fact that I felt like I needed a bit more, my parents were also of the opinion, my parents and my auntie at the time were also of the opinion that, you know what, come and work in the bank. And I was like, okay, yeah, because I was basically over, all of that anyway. So, um, and the money was small. So I moved to the bank. Still NYSC, by the way. So I moved to the bank, and of course I wasn't going to touch figures before person money go loss. So I worked HR admin. So I did that for 1 year, and NYSC finished. Or yeah, for 1 year and NYSC finished. So once I did that, so first of all, I got that the first job, the cookie jar job, before NYC started. Because like I told you guys, I had the thought like that July. So I started working even before I started doing NYSC because I didn't want to loaf around. But anyway, so I worked in the bank till the end of my NYSC time. And once it was done, my parents thought I needed to go and do my master. So I started trying to write GMAT and whatnot to get out of the country. But the truth is, I knew I didn't want any more education. I wasn't cut out for it. I was just certain that I wasn't cut out for it. So while I was doing my GMAT, in fact, it was so bad that my mother put me at home and put me on a salary, right? She was giving me money every month, and I wasn't doing any, I was just at home. So it was, I mean, small money, but it was more money than I was making at the bakery. And it was, the idea was for me to not think about a job, just focus on the GMAT. But the truth is, I wasn't satisfied. Now, being that I had worked in close proximity with event planners, they now knew me. So once I applied to an event planning company, I got the job immediately. And it was one of the dream event planning companies that I had worked with them that I really wanted to, you know, work for. So I started working there. They said because I didn't have experience, they put me in the admin aspect of, the company. And it was so annoying back then because like admin was not cool. Like operations were cool. I like the ones that were going out for events and everything. And me, I'll be carrying CUG. That's all those internal phones. Carry walkie-talkie, carry lanyard, make sure that there's water for all the stuff. And I was like, what is all this nonsense? Like I be HR admin in the office in the bank was cool, but this one is just so frustrating. Anyway, so I did that for a while, and after a while, they moved me into the event planning arm of the company. So at that point, I was really happy. So I moved into the events part of the business and planning events and whatnot. And at some point, I moved to another company after spending maybe about a year there or so. I moved to another events planning company as well. And those people were doing just pure corporate events, and I worked there again for a few months. So now this is 2017. So we've come all the way from 2013 to 2017. Now we're in 2017, and I said, you know what? Let me float my own events planning company. I got a name, pretty good at picking names. Got someone to get me a logo. Now the question was how to get jobs. Now I didn't have any money. I was getting married that year. I quit my job like June. I was getting married in September, and I was just in a place where most people do not want to be in. I'm going to talk about me getting married without a proper job and how I navigated finances later. I said, I was floating my company, so asking anybody that cared to listen, please, I plan events, so if you have any event, hit me up. Please, if you have proposal, hit me up. If people give me gigs here and there, 30K here, 20K here, 50K here, that kind of thing. But of course, it wasn't enough to sustain a girl that was wanting to get married soon, of course. But anyway, I shall made it work and navigated through. I was just taking whatever it is I could get, staying at home more, not going out as such, and just thinking about how to make the company work. So as God will have it, the moment I got married, I got my first job, got my second job. Before the end of that year, I had made like my first 2 millions. You know, that money that I had not made since I started working in 2013, you know. So once I got married, that door just opened and the events thing started working. I got my first big clients, corporate clients. I planned a couple of weddings. I planned my own wedding as well, and things just started moving, started getting better, on the work front. I was doing great with events. I had money. Do you understand? Events were just coming back to back. People were just reaching out to me, and I was pretty good at it. I'm pretty good at planning events, if I do say so myself. So I was doing it well. Everything was going well. I was a bit proud. No, not proud. I was a bit uncertain of myself, and as a result of that, I did not apply myself as I should have in terms of publicizing the company. You won't believe that for maybe the first year and a half of running that company, I never posted it on my personal page because I always felt that if we ever made a mistake that it was a flop, I didn't want people to tie it back to my personality or to my person. So I never shared it on my. In fact, the very first time I shared "You Planned It" concept on my personal page was a year and like 4 months after I had actually started planning events. And I feel like, thinking about it now, that might have been one of the things that killed the business because it may have seemed a bit too impersonal. People did not know the person behind it. You're seeing nice pictures, you're seeing good work, but you don't even know who. I might be wrong. But I was so scared of ever making a mistake and people tying it back to my person that I would just talk to people by word of mouth. And well, I'll not put you on Instagram because Instagram is very big. Nobody know who you. So everything was working great and fine, and I was making money. And then a friend of mine said, "You know what? Universal, that's the Universal that movie music Universal has just come into Nigeria. They've just moved to Nigeria and they're setting up a team and they want an event consultant. I put your name forward because the MD is my friend." I say, "You, me?" He said, "Yes, truly." They called me for an interview. I went, I aced the interview, I got the job as a consultant. The money was sweet. In fact, at some point, I was just going to work 2 days a week because that was the contract that I signed and they were giving good money. In fact, they put me on a retainership. I did that for a year. What was crazy, what happened to me then is, so as I tell you this story, I will now tell you where it got a bit interesting. So, the moment I got the job, right, they were going to have a retreat, and they were going to have the retreat for everybody because they really were putting together a team. So it was a pretty virgin, it was a virgin project. So they said, "You know what, let's go to Takwa Bay, let's go camping, let's meet ourselves and whatnot." It was going to be overnight. So I told my husband, I said, "You know what, babe?" They said, "Let's go and do something overnight and blah blah blah." So, but something in my body was telling me that, okay, it'd be like, say, you haven't seen your period though, you know you haven't seen your period. This was in February, all right? You haven't seen your period. I saw it in January, but I haven't seen the February. Something is going on. So what happened was, I used to live in Surulere at the time with my husband, but because the jetty was on the island and they were leaving by 9 o'clock, I went to sleep in my auntie's house in Lekki. So on my way to my uncle's house, I got a pregnancy strip, and I got that pregnancy strip and I went into the toilet the morning of, and I peed on it and looked at it and saw that I was pregnant. And the only reason why I checked it was because I knew that that kind of gathering we're going to have on the beach, there was going to be alcohol, and I didn't want to compromise anything that might be. So I saw that I was pregnant. And at that point, I don't even know if to say I was happy or I was sad, because it just felt like I had finally landed a dream project and something that is going to stop me has come. And thinking of the bundle of joy that Kyla is now, I hate, I don't hate myself, but I hate the fact that I even thought about it as a stumbling block because, um, when they told me about the job, they told me about the fact that I'll be traveling all the time, I'll be going to SA, I'll be going to this, I'll be going to that. It was meant to be an exciting opportunity, and they don't know you're pregnant. They just gave you a job and then you now show up now with big stomach. Like, who's even going to find this thing funny? And truly, to be honest, I didn't find it funny. So I hid the pregnancy for months. I would try my best to hide it, to wear clothes that will make it not show. I would try to be extra active, just to make sure that it's not a hindrance. But I remember one time we had an event and they made me sign an in fact they made me take an undertaking home and told my husband to sign the undertaking. That's we're planning this event and I'm doing everything I'm doing for the event. If anything happens to me, I'm liable to myself because like not in a bad way, but just in a give her permission. I don't even know how I felt about it that time because I was really angry. I remember talking to my friends, like, how can they be telling my husband to give me permission to walk? Like, am I not my own person? But that's not what this video is about. So, but I would say that the pregnancy really stopped whatever that whole universal situation would have been for me. I worked there for a year, but I was stifled. And I wouldn't travel. In fact, they wouldn't invite me for stuff because it's like, first of all, I was the only married person at the time in the office. Now, it's not only the fact that I'm married, that I'm married and I'm pregnant. And I only just joined the organization. It was just like, I was that person that they won't really invite for stuff. And it hurt a bit, but I was getting making my money. So I was like, okay, no problem. But the day that I went to give birth, that was, in fact, the month I went to give birth, that was the last. They never spoke to me. They never, you know, I just know I had a phone call where they were saying something about, calling me when they need my services instead of putting me on the retainer that they were. And we never had an official email like that, just died in December. So I started the job like first week in February, and by like December, that chapter was closed. So I was like, okay, at least I'm still getting my regular. It was a good run. It was good for my CV. I'm still getting my regular event planning jobs and things. So um I'm just gonna go on with that. So I gave birth in at the end of October. Of course, they paid me my salary till December, and that's why I said it ended in December, and that was that for that journey. So the event planning job I got after I gave birth, one I got the one I got the January after I gave birth was the last event planning job I ever got. Everybody just stopped calling me. It was a big gig. It was in Abeokuta. It was for a couple of days. I had a newborn. I was barely 2 months old, but I dove like straight to work, and I made it work. It was a huge success, and I was like, God, this year is going to be bomb. Like it was the 14th of January. I won't forget. So I'm like, man, gigs are going to be coming. Like I'm starting the year with a bang like this, went out of last year with a bang, like gave birth in October and still like had gigs. I'm going to kill it. But that was the last job I ever got as an event planner, or at least at that time. Right. Nobody was calling me. Not because I did anything. I didn't have any issues with anybody. I didn't have anything. Like the jobs were not just coming anymore. It was ridiculous. I was like, waiting they happened to me, you know? And January was silent, February was silent, March was silent. March was my husband's birthday, guys. So, I mean, I still had money, so I was like, okay, yeah, just be spending, but I was spending straight from savings. And Onyeka was in Aba, so my husband had been moved to Aba. In fact, shortly before I gave birth, they transferred him to Aba. That's another story for another day. My life has different directions. My life has different facets. I go like talk, I enter that story. I'm like, I'm not gonna talk about this one. I go put another. So, but anyway, I gave birth in October. That October, Onyeka was posted to Aba. So he started working from Aba. So I was pretty much like a single mom. It was just me, my nanny, and Kyla when I gave birth. So anyway, no job. Oh. So I wake up in the morning, I'll be on my bed. I would watch movies or watch movies, watch movies, watch movies. Oh, my nanny did miracle, amazing girl. She would cook food, give me in bed. I'll be putting on Snapchat. That's what I was doing with my life for like a few months. And then it was my husband's birthday in March. I said, you know what? I feel so old. I just feel like everything has been so overwhelming. So let me have a theme for the birthday. And I called the theme Young Again. So I had a whole itinerary. We're going to do breakfast in bed, eat like children, probably even do food fight. Then we'll go to the game arcade. We'll wear like sneakers, matching things, just, things that will make us feel young and fun again. Because, the distance and the fact that I just had a child, like, just made everything seem so serious. I mean, you cannot really serious people like that. We they play, so I had that theme anyway, but that's not what it's about. So anyway, I had the theme, and I said, let me now call Instagram vendors that do breakfast. That's why I called the first one. She said she go send me menu for Instagram, and she sent her a message. I sent her a message. She sent me the menu. Lo and behold, like a simple English breakfast spread was 60K. Now this I'm talking about is in 2019, right? As we speak now, I still don't have a trade that is 20K. That is 60K rather. And the trades I have now have more stuff than that trade that was 60,000 naira. So make it make sense. Like this is just to tell you how exorbitant this was, right? I called another vendor. Her things looked somewhat. I don't want to knock anybody's business down, but not the standard I naturally would rather go for. The price too was exorbitant, and I said, "Wait a minute, what are we even talking about? For pancake and waffles that I can make with my eyes closed, just that I don't have a waffle machine." So I remember calling Sandra, that's my sister, and telling her, see what is going on, or see what is happening, or see how much they charge me. I want to do this for you. But I think I'm just going to buy a waffle machine and hack this thing myself. She said, oh, okay, that's great. I'll buy your waffle machine for you. So she legit sent me 7,000, though, 7,000 naira. And um, I bought the waffle machine, went to my auntie's house, got a few nice white plates and whatnot. And went to the market, bought some nice fruits, some kiwis, some strawberries, like fruits that, are not like so common, blueberries and whatnot. Mixed batter that day, made pancake, made waffles, made I don't know if I made crepes that day, made French toast, everything. Laid it out on the table. When my husband came, he ate it. And you know me, in my usual fashion, I would always like video and Snapchat and whatnot. So just randomly, like Onyeka's birthday, this is the theme, da 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 da. I just like made videos of it and posted it on social media. And one guy just messaged me like, "Oh my god, who did this? I need the services for April something." Is this serious? Another person, I really need this service. Like two people messaged me. I said, "Shoo." Immediately I finished like this, I went to download Canva. Pa, 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 I don't create logo. Pa, 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 I don't create menu. I had no idea what I was doing. In fact, I think the next weekend, I took my brother with me. I said, you know what, let's go to Balogun. Let me go and look for trays and plates that I will fit in. This is the menu I think I'm going to do. So let's go and look for plates we used to put everything inside. So my brother followed me to the market and we did all of that, brought the plates back. I said, oh yeah, let me make a sample now. I made a sample, took pictures. It was shit. I swear. I wish I had the pictures and I probably put it somewhere here. But yeah, the pictures were terrible, is what I mean, not the food. And so the food, I was going to make burger. The idea was looking like rubbish. Anyway, the ones that were nice were nice, and I just charged a price based on the calculation that I did. The guy paid, I delivered to his wife. Another guy paid, I delivered to his girlfriend. And people are liking this thing. Let me be posting the picture. And from there, it just became a full on thing. Now, this was 2019. So I took it as a hobby. So I didn't register the business. I didn't do any of that stuff. I'm just like, it's going to die down. There's no need opening an account number or whatnot, whatnot, whatnot. I was going to travel for summer that July. I was like, I'm sure by the time I go and come back, nobody really cares about me because I'm the person cooking all the food. So I'm definitely going to, close down. So I traveled, people were calling. I said, no, I'm not around, I'm not around, I'm not around. Came back, people were still calling, and I continued doing it. After a year, I realized that this thing was making me money. Initially, I never. So what happened was my brother now kept saying to me, "This thing you're doing, are you documenting it? This thing you're doing, are you documenting it? You're giving out invoices because I downloaded Wave, an invoicing app. So he said you're giving out invoices, but are you even looking? I'm like, the money that is there is just enough to keep body and soul together. It's just for me to be able to buy things. I don't think that big money is coming in." And he said, just open your Wave app on your laptop and look at your inflow for the last year. And reluctantly, I did that. And I saw that 11 million naira had passed through the business during a 9 months to 1 year period, considering the fact that I was on holiday for like almost 2 months. And December, I didn't really do anything because I wanted to spend December with my family. I was like, wait a minute. Now, it may not, it was big money for my business. I'm not even going to, if you like, think it's not big money for you, that's for you. For my business, it was big money. And not as if the 11 million was profit, but the fact that that amount of money had passed through me. I was like, I'm sleeping on this thing the next day. Business name, register this, account number, blah, blah. And that is how It's by TKO became a big thing. For me at that time. Then lockdown happened. I was like, lockdown has happened. Nobody's going to order food again. I didn't know that lockdown was going to be the best thing that happened to my business because people were now at home. and they were hungry, and food was termed the essential business. So we were able to still function and deliver with dispatches, and people were ordering. And to be honest, that was the best part of my business. And I will stop here for now and just explain to you how I have navigated. So you see how everything went from one thing to another, to another, to another, and I didn't hold it back.